Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering, with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have Tatyova, Benthic Druid, an EDH Landfall focused deck here. You know what we're doing. We're playing a ton of lands. We're going to draw a ton of cards and gain a bunch of life. And then we're going to have some messed up cards in Simic that are going to let us abuse that even more. So really expensive build here because we are running cards that are pretty expensive as far as like the landfall synergies are concerned. TCG market value is $499 to $663, and we're running more lands than Synergy Sanctum usually puts in their decks. So we're running 38 lands, with 16 of those being basics between islands and forests, and 22 of those being non-basic lands. So Tatyova says whenever a land enters, you're going to gain a life and you're going to draw a card. Pretty simple, but we got a really powerful draw engine in the command zone, and we are going to take advantage of that. So our win cons in the deck, I'm not joking around. You'll draw your whole deck with this commander in the command zone. So we're running Laboratory Maniac and Thassa's Oracle to make sure we don't lose when that happens. Because Tatyova is gaining you a bunch of life, something like Aetherflux Reservoir is really broken here to the point where you can do this multiple times. I've broken like 100 life in this deck before. So whenever you cast a spell, you're gaining life. You're also gaining them from lands coming in with Tatyova. And then you could pay 50 to nuke somebody. Walk the Ions is really solid in this deck, and it has a buyback cost of sacking 3 islands, but we have a lot of ways of recurring those islands or playing them from the graveyard, and you'll basically get infinite turns with this card. So really solid here. And then a really major backup, but we will have a bunch of lands out, so worst case scenario, we'll turn those all into indestructible creatures and we'll swing out with Sylvan Awakening. And then here are the cards that have additional landfall triggers or ways of benefiting from the land. So Scoot Swarm is going to make a bunch of bugs. Royal Elemental is going to let you take a creature from an opponent as long as you have Royal Elemental out. Avenger of Zendikar is making a bunch of plants and making them bigger. Lotus Cobra is giving you mana. Ancient Green Warden is doubling up the land trigger. So picture every one of these triggering twice. Horn of Greed is letting you draw, and then AC Tyrant of Gyre Strait is letting you draw off of lands coming in and also giving you an additional one. And then Zurin Orb, not necessarily landfall, but you can sack all of your lands to gain 2 life after tapping them, and then you could use all that mana to bring them all back from the graveyard, which will then trigger all of these landfall abilities again. And then the ways of getting extra lands in the deck are as follows. So we are running Exploration, giving you 1 a turn. Same with Druid of the Elysian Grove. Cultivator Colossus, when it enters, you can put a land in, and then you get to draw, and then you get to repeat that process. So we're not running the Abundance combo in here that lets this go infinite, but we are, we can do this to our heart's content because it's a May ability on the land. Crucible of Worlds, Conduit of Worlds, and Ramunap Excavator are the other recursion ones. So if we're sacking lands, it's not a big deal, because each of these lets us play one from the graveyard, and then if you have these additional ones, you can play additional from the graveyard. Azusa Lost But Seeking is giving you 2 additional lands. Augur of Autumn is letting you play them from the top of your library. And then Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, is turning all of your non-token creatures into forest lands, which is pretty powerful, because then when they enter, you're getting landfall abilities. And then ways of getting even more lands in the deck, we're running a Wayward Swordtooth, gives you an additional land. 3 visits is good ramp, and you can choose the duels, right? Because we are running, Breeding Pool to go and get that, so you have green and blue mana. Trade Routes has the ability to return a land at the cost of 1 mana. So you can, if you run out of spells, you can return the land, like tap the land, pay the 1 to return that land, replay it, and then get Tatyova going. Sylvan Scrine's letting you get any land. Thrasios for 4 mana, you're getting to put 1 in. Sunder. Oh, man. If there is a way to be super messed up, it is Sunder in this deck. Sunder says, return all lands to their owner's hands. So it's basically land destruction for everyone else, but because we're running cards that let us play so many lands, we're not worried about this. We just want more landfall because we're greedy. Storm Cauldron's the same thing, but you're forcing your opponents to do it by tapping them. So whenever a land is tapped for mana, they got to return that to their hand, and this gives you an additional one as well. Sprouting Vines has Storm, so it lets you storm off and get all your basics out of your deck. Splendid Reclamation is letting you put them all back from the graveyard. And then Scape Shift says you can sack any number and you go find that many and put them on the battlefield, and then all the landfall stuff happens. You can see how annoying this deck's getting. And yeah, that's not enough. We want even more lands. So Secure Tribe Scout and Sky Shroud Ranger let you tap to put a land in. Oracle Moldiah is letting you play them off the top. Nylea's Intervention, you could pay into X and you're going to get that many land cards and put them in your hand. Moloku, the Clouded Mirror, lets you return them at the cost of 1. He makes tokens. Gretchen Titchwillow, similar to Thrasios, pay 4, you draw a card, and then you can put a land in. Ghost Town is on the land. Ghost Town, you could pay 0 to return it, but you can only do that during another player's turn. Mana Breach is so good. Whenever a player plays a spell, they return a land. We're not worried about that. Other people will be pissed about it. Awaken the Woods, you pay into X, you get that many 1/1 land creatures out on the field, so tons of land and one spell. Life from the Loam, you can dredge it and bring it all back, and it lets you bring 3 lands back from your graveyard to your hand. And then Kodama of the East Tree, really broken with creatures and bigger spells, but at a minimum, he can let you play additional lands off of that ability, that whenever a permanent enters, if it wasn't put in with this ability, you can put a permanent card with equal or less mana value from your hand onto the battlefield. And then other good stuff in the deck, so we're running a Sylvan Safekeeper. You can sack a land to give Tatyova Shroud for the turn. Psychosis Crawler's draining everybody off of all this draw. Propaganda's protecting us. Empress Galena, you can take other people's commanders for 2 mana. Curse of the Swine, you can sink mana into this to exile all other creatures and make them turn into pigs. Kira Great Glass Spinner requires opponents to cast 2 spells to deal with your stuff, because whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell for the first time, you get to counter it. Mana Drain is a counterspell. Krosan Grip for removal. Coma Cosmos Serpent, because why not? Just make a bunch of Como Serpents at each upkeep and have a bunch of tokens that can swing out. And then Cyclonic Rift to bounce everything back. And then more good stuff in the deck. We're running a Soul Ring. We're running a Scroll Rack to kind of like manipulate our hand. So if we don't have the things in our hand that we need, you could put it all on the top and draw a new hand. Constant Miss has a buyback of sacking a land. We don't really care about that though, but it'll protect us and stop combat damage. More counter spells here with Counterspell, and Cryptic Command can do it as well. Capsize has a buyback of 3, and you could return and bounce permanents to their owner's hand, so really, really broken here. Blue Sun Zenith letting you draw a bunch of cards based off of how much mana you sink into it, and then Birds of Paradise as our dork. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.